Hey guys, welcome back to some more 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross. In today's video, we're going to take a look at my top 4 mistakes that new players might make if they're not aware of these things. So hopefully this is going to help a few people with efficiency. There's a lot of gold saving happening in here and some tips that hopefully will help you guys with your progression. So let's get into the video. The first one I want to look at is leveling up your heroes with potions. Now this is something that confused me completely at the start when I was playing JP, but I finally figured it out and I haven't seen it mentioned too much, so I just wanted to go through it because it will save you a lot of gold. So with potions, when you go to use them, you'll see my my new Lizhawk, my red one here. I've just built her, got her to UR. She's at level 1. If I go to use any potion, that potion, the 6-star potion, is going to cost me 600 gold. If I go just a 5-star potion, 600 gold, 3-star, 600, and so on and so forth. Now the way it works is, I'm not exactly sure, I think I'm right with the leveling, but every 10 levels your hero goes up, I believe it is, it's going to go up by 600 cost. So what you normally want to try and do is, 6-star potions are a bit harder to get. 5-star I find to be a pretty sweet spot early game. Later game you're going to want to just build them up to 6-star. So the thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to King and you're going to want to join them together to get them to be at least 5-star in my opinion. And what you want to do is you want to max this out when they are at level 1. Because then it's only going to cost you 3,600 to get all of this experience. And now I'm just going to do some testing to show you. So that was 3,600 to use all 5 stars. If I just go like this, go up to level 14, use that. We'll talk about like critical experience as well in a sec. But now I'm on level 14. Now we look at the cost, we're at 1,200. So now if I want to go ahead and use those same 6 potions here, it's going to cost me 7,200 now. So it just keeps increasing the cost. So if I use another little potion here, let's use this one. Now we'll get between 20 and 30 with our level. And I'm costing myself gold here, big rip. But then you'll see if I go to use these again, they cost 1,800 each. So to use those same 6, I'm looking at 10,000 and it just keeps going. So you don't, basically the situation I really want everyone to avoid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to level her up properly now. I'm just going to dump all these. Level 60 is the max. Now, this is another thing. There is like a critical chance, I call it in this, where you can gain 150% experience and you can also gain 200% experience. So it's up to how lucky you feel. With that last one, I always like to check if I can get that last bit of XP with a smaller potion. But anyway, the thing you want to, it comes down to how lucky you feel. So sometimes with this, I might do 3 of these and it's a gamble, because if I do 3 of them, and I get the critical and I get double experience, then I've saved myself some potions. But if I don't, then it's going to cost me a lot to use those other potions. So I'm just going to display that here. Hopefully we don't get the critical so we can show you guys. So I'm going to use those, get myself to level 52. Please don't give me double. Only time, super success. Okay, gave me 150%. Let's see what level, that got me to level 58. So that's what I'm talking about. I got 150% experience out of that. So if I had have actually maxed out the bar and got myself straight to level 60, I would have actually overcapped and I could have saved a potion. But anyway, now we're at level 58 and now you'll see it costs 3,600 to use these potions. Like I said, they get very expensive. That one's giving me about 38% and I'll just pop a second one there just to use it. The other thing you can do here, if you're like, what if I get double experience here, then I'll do it. What you can do is you can do a single one here, hope for the critical, didn't get it. But if you didn't, it doesn't matter because you're still in that same level range. Now you can go ahead and use the single one next. So the thing you really want to avoid, that was just a long way to demonstrate that, but I just feel like it's something that can save people a lot of gold. But the one thing you really want to avoid is being at like level 30 with a hero. We'll jump into another hero here, my Slater for instance here. You really want to avoid just jumping in and like dumping all like 1 and 2-star potions in, because that, like I said, they cost the same. Look at that, that's going to cost me 5,400 for Jack all experience. So you really do want to avoid those. Keep upgrading them, 5-star at least, 6-star a bit later game. So that is the experience one. I hope that helps a few people out, because gold is really hard to come by early game and you can blow a lot of it on these potions if you're not careful. The next thing I want to look at is upgrading SR heroes specifically, just because when we get to chapter 5, so I've completed the campaign, it only goes to chapter 5. This is going to apply more so a little bit later on once they introduce chapter 6. You do have a bit of wriggle room at the moment when we only go to chapter 5, because there's a quest at the pretty much the very end of this chapter, of chapter 5, where you have to make the red Bon and the blue Meliodas, you have to make them UR level 60. So if you just completely ignore those two units and just go off building, you know, like good heroes like the Gil Thunder, like this Red Elizabeth, like my Red Elizabeth and Hawk, if you just go through, build all those guys to UR, you'll hit a point where you're like, you'll simply have, if I go up here, no more SR pendants, and that is going to be a complete brick wall for you. So if you build up a bunch of SR units that you think are really, really good, especially if you're free to play, and then you realize, wow, I have no more SR pendants, I need to get these other two heroes to level 60 UR before I can actually progress through the game. So that is a big one to avoid. The game is fairly generous at launch, so if you go over here to Hero Way, up the top left, there's all these things that give you really nice rewards, and they're really easy to work through. So make sure you're working through those and getting all those awesome rewards, because they will help you out. So you do get a fair few pendants. As you can see, I've already got the 3 SR units, being the Bon, the Lizhawk, and the Meliodas to UR. But I'm pretty much dry now, and the only way I'm getting them is through the SP dungeon, and so that's where you want to be careful. Don't go building everything else in the SR ranks, because you are going to have to build those guys for a quest. And like I said, especially once chapter 6 launches, you're going to be at a brick wall for progression if you don't have those guys at level 60 UR. The next thing I want to talk about, and this one's probably a bit more obvious than the other ones, but it's not farming while you're asleep. It's so easy. If we jump over here, so in the early game, you're probably going to want to, like in the first few days, maybe farm experience potions. That's what I did on my first night, and that's where I've got to now on my account. It's just really nice to wake up with a bunch of experience to pump into your heroes. Later on, you're probably going to farm books, because you can farm books and sell them for gold. That's a bit later game. But you're going to want to farm normally one of these two things, or you can farm gear if you're at that stage. But it's really, really quite a simple process. You literally just go into the battle, and then you hit this. You can hit the settings symbol next to the auto button, and you can choose no restrictions on how many refreshes, and then you can choose to recover energy with your stamina potions, which is really nice. If you don't have any, like in the early game, you're going to struggle for stamina potions. You do get a lot later on, but in the early game, you burn a lot. So to get that stamina, there's a few things you can do. You can go over here to achievements, and you get a lot of stamina through these achievements. On all of these tabs, they end up dropping some stamina. So I collect them before I go to bed and use that. Also, if you've done some summoning, it depends if you're saving for a banner or not. You just go over here to the coin shop, go to the silver ones, and you can trade your rare coins over here for stamina pots down the bottom. That's what you want to be using on there. If you're absolutely desperate, you could use some diamonds. I try to avoid it, but in the end, I'd rather be playing and getting progression than not playing the game. So some people say don't use diamonds at all, but for me, if I've got 0 stamina and I've got nowhere to get it, you know, I might just buy a couple stamina, or you can just go do, if you're saving summons, just go do some 10 pulls, get some of those rare heroes and get some chances at some SSRs, and then you just buy your pots from the shop. So I'd probably lean towards just doing a summon if I was saving, getting some of those, and then throwing the rare coins to those potions, but it's completely up to you. But either way you look at it, do some farming, whether it be the SP dungeon or whether it be some equipment farming. Once you get to the stage that you can actually farm for SSR gear, then you want to be farming those overnight, because it's really, really nice when you wake up and look at your stuff and you can just upgrade a bunch of your heroes. And now the final thing I want to look at is the exchange materials. This thing where you go to with King, where you can break down or upgrade your materials. Now, with this, just so you don't get caught out, especially early game before you learn the way it is, basically to upgrade, it's going to cost you 6 of the lower material. To downgrade, you're only going to get 2. So if I go back over here, if I go to something like this, so if I look at these 3-star books, it's going to cost me 6 of them to make 1 4-star book. However, if I downgrade 1 4-star book, it's only going to give me 2 3-star books. So it's not a straight swap either way. So don't go upgrading, downgrading, upgrading, downgrading. If you you'll get to this a lot on a hero where you want to evolve them and you need like one more 3-star book. Don't go downgrading your 4-star books, because eventually you're going to want to use those books to upgrade to 5-star. Don't go downgrading those 4-star books. Just go farm another 3-star book. It will be tempting, but don't do it. If you're like me and you have a bunch of 2-star books, feel free to upgrade them, because eventually everything's going to want to get upgraded. But yeah, don't just be going willy-nilly swapping around here and there, because you do get diminishing returns on your upgrades and downgrades. The one area I would make an exception is very early game, when you don't have many of these blue stones. I did early game downgrade some of my 2-stars and 3-stars to get more 1-stars, so that I could get more awakenings on my common gear, because that allowed me to get the extra substats to roll for. That is very early game, but eventually, once again, when you get to end game, you're going to be wanting to upgrade SSR gear and you want to upgrade. But for the early game stage, this is that one exception where I don't mind. You may not want to, it's up to you, but I don't mind downgrading a few of these 2-star ones to get some extra 1-stars, so that you can just get like basically at least one set of the right hand side of common gear up to 5-stars, so you get like all the substats that you can roll for. But that is going to be the final tip. There's a bunch of the generic tips I could have given, but those are just the ones that I feel like some people may miss out on and may really catch you out in your progression. So I hope that did help you guys. If it did, feel free to drop a sub and leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.